Let's do it. Welcome to the Endless Honeymoon Podcast. I'm a little hoarse this episode, Tosh.
I was like, how are your shows? And you sent me a picture of an audience member you were on the floor and they were like you do a baby overhead, like you play Uppy Baby. Like you had
Yeah.
you had like your feet in a woman's stomach, it looked like.
No,
and she was
a woman came on stage. She was an acro yoga specialist and live and direct in the Bell House in Brooklyn, New York.
You sold that out?
Sold it out. We did acro yoga, and it was a real memorable moment.
Well,
I got lifted above the sky by an audience member. It was fun. I felt like a triumphant hero that night. Natasha, you ever feel like that on stage?
I have.
Yeah.
I can't say it's something I feel often. A triumphant hero. No, I always think like, what could I have done better? But that's also why I'm what a lot of people call a real artist.
And what am I? Would you say an egomaniac? Yeah. More of an egomaniac.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't feel that way the rest of the weekend. It was just that was a special show. That was a pretty special show. Now, Natasha, when I was in New York, did you feel upset that you didn't have my GPS, my location turned on so you could follow my whereabouts?
I would never follow your whereabouts. I don't want to know where. I hate that our garage door tells me when you come home.
I know. I like that when I can see you coming in at all hours of the night, and I think, where has she been? You know, because we had a listener write in with that very question. What do you feel about couples tracking each other's locations on their phone? I'm against it.
Why?
Why would you need to do that?
Because if you have my kid, I want to know like where you're going, I guess.
I have a friend, by the way.
But it does seem very unnecessary.
Your kid?
I'm just saying our daughter.
Yeah, it's ours. Yeah, it's ours.
It's ours.
It is ours.
Okay.
Natasha, a few things about this. I have a friend named Laura who I camp with at Burning Man, and I won't give her my, I don't know how to give her permissions, but I won't give her permission on my phone because she follows everyone she meets. She has trackers on every one of her friends.
What's wrong with her?
She's a quirky person.
But wouldn't that take up all your time?
I think it's more of like she does it as a gag.
Like a cool Burning Man irony situation.
Yes, a cool Burning Man irony situation is exactly what it is. Natasha, you're seeming, I'm going to be honest with you, chipper. And the only reason I say that, what are you drinking right now?
Oh, because I didn't drink wine for 30 days.
You've been off the sauce, Natasha. A self-imposed off the sauce.
And also, I just was like wanting to be very coherent. Because I had a lot of work I had to do.
I got to be honest with you. I'm not feeling it when you're that coherent.
I know. Moshe kept going, when does this... Most people try to support their partners when they stop drinking and smoking pot. Moshe just kept asking me, he's like, how many more days? Like, why don't you just smoke a doob? Like,
well, you're just...
I think it's been long enough. You just need to have a glass of wine.
Well, I think that you're... I think it wasn't about me wanting you to be drinking. It was more about like, I feel like you worry too much about stuff like that. You don't have a problem. I have been around many people with problems, and I don't get that from you. And I'm pretty.
That doesn't mean I can't stop taking.
No doubt, but I know that it's like not drinking so much as like, smoke a little pot. Like you had a horrible headache the other day, and I was like, smoke some weed, and you're like, I'm on my don't smoke weed this month shit. I'm like, why are you putting yourself through a migraine when you know that helps you?
Okay, then why don't you eat a non-kosher piece of beef at the restaurant?
Great question. Because I don't experience any detrimental effects from not eating the non-kosher beef. But you had a straight up migraine. I was trying to get you healing.
But what if it tastes better?
It does taste better, doesn't it? I would assume it tastes better. It must taste better.
Yeah, whenever you ask me to go get a steak at one of those weird restaurants.
Weird? Kosher?
Yeah, but it's like a fake fancy restaurant.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's on the west side of LA, and they've got all these kosher steakhouses.
You're right.
And it looks like someone's living room, like you're in your Bubbla's living room,
yeah.
And they just put some white tablecloths over a bunch of card tables, and then they like...
You're right. The truth is, fancy kosher restaurants, there's always going to be like some screaming Israeli children. It's never going to really feel like you're at, the Fleur de Lis or Jean-Georges.
Well,
you're going to feel like you're at Chaim Weitzman's.
I'm glad that you're happy that I'm drinking again.
I'm not happy you're drinking again. I'm just like, I'm excited for you to have an
outlet.
An outlet, yeah,
that
sure.
Isn't you?
Yeah. When I become your outlet on day 28 of your sobriety, it ain't great. I wouldn't say it's like a pleasant kind of outlet. I would say it's more of a, does punching bag mean anything to you? No, I have DJing and surfing. I've told you for years.
Oh, and I have drinking? No.
Yes, I've told you for years I think you should get a hobby.
You think drinking's my hobby?
No, I think you should get a hobby.
I do have a hobby. I play tennis.
That's true. I like
piano.
that about you. I'm into that.
I'm learning how to play cards.
Dude, I was on Craigslist the other night trying to find you a piano. I support your hobbies.
Thank you.
I'm trying to get you a new piano.
I have narrow interests, but it's what I like.
You have a narrow mind.
I like music.
A wide bung.
And I
like that about you.
My kid is like, Mom, do you have a big butt?
And what'd you say?
I go, I don't know. I didn't know what to say.
I would have said, you're damn right she does. That's why you came into existence. Without that big butt, you wouldn't have even ever been born.
I think she can see that it seems bigger than hers
Most
anyway.
Most people your size, let's say.
Maybe
now, Natasha, I think we should take a call.
Okay.
If you're ready, I'm ready.
I'm feeling it.
You are feeling it, and I think it's the alcohol.
I smoke some weed too.
Weed is cool. Dude, honestly, I was really thinking about psychedelics again today. Listeners, should I do psychedelics? I've been sober for a long time, but I really would like this experience of like a purposeful, intentional, transcendental experience. I'm curious about doing it as an adult. I've done psychedelics, but only when I was like 12 and 13 years old. And I would like drop acid and go to a subway station and stare at a concrete pylon for 8 hours.
That is so sad.
I never went to a forest. I never listened to a Pink Floyd. I never watched a cool, trippy movie. And all I want to do is go into a room and take a couple of psychedelics with a spirit leader and have a spiritual experience.
What if they tell you something that goes like really against your code?
What do you mean? The leader?
Yeah. No, what if your ayahuasca trip, they're like, you're not really Jewish.
You mean Mother Ayahuasca?
Yeah, or she's like, you're not a comedian.
Oh, like stop doing comedy.
Or I don't know.
Let go of that part of your identity.
Yes, if it asks you to let go of something.
I don't know. Do you remember what your ayahuasca trip told you? Do you remember? Mm-hmm. Did I ever talk about that on the podcast?
Did you ever talk about my private information on the podcast?
Oh, it wasn't that private. I think I must have said this on the podcast. When you came home and you go, I realized like, you're like not just my husband, but you're my son's bend. My son's bend. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's your takeaway from your big psychedelic experience is that I'm like your son's bend? I go, I think that should have stayed between you and your shaman.
I totally forgot about that.
I didn't, and I never will. It was not a ringing
sorry,
endorsement, Mom, of the ayahuasca experience. But I don't know if I'd even want... Ayahuasca sounds so intense. Here's my dilemma, okay, guys, for those listening. If I'm scared to do psychedelics in a meaningful, intentional way, even though I think it's a positive thing, because then I will have crossed the line from full binary sobriety, which I have been sober since 1994, into an unknown realm. Now, I don't think it means like...
Ooh, I don't know if I can handle emotion in unknown realm. At least with you, I know what I'm getting.
Known realm.
You're always sober.
Yeah.
I got to talk you out of like just probably...
Sweaters.
Two bad ideas a day. I mean, but I know what to expect.
Right. Like,
I don't want Moshe with like surprise. I know that you're always going to change your mind every time you order dinner.
Sure.
And...
maybe I would stop, though, after I took a little bit of San Pedro.
Maybe. Oh, you think maybe it would like chill you out a little bit?
I don't know what it would do. I've never done it in an intentional way, in an exploratory way. I've only done it as a kid to party.
Well, part of me thinks you should do like the heavy one, like
ayahuasca,
because like if you just do like a little bit of a mushroom trip, it's going to have so much weight on it. It might not even work out. I don't know. It's and it's just going to make you want to do more. Here's my fear. And then every weekend you're going to be doing mushrooms.
Here's my fear about doing ayahuasca first.
What?
Well, I'm afraid I will have so much existential angst about no longer being, quote, sober, unquote, that the whole ayahuasca trip will be about that, like that meltdown. It'll all be about like, what am I? What does it mean to no longer have the same,
but maybe it would give you what it gave me, which is like a glowing, confident, part of yourself that you didn't even know was you. It gifted you that.
What if I came home and I was like, I realized something about you. You're my grand wife. Like my grandma wife.
What is that?
My grandma wife. You're my wife, but my grandma
Honey,
too.
I'm only 5 years older than you. That doesn't
What do you think?
really work out.
Weigh in, especially if you're sober. There is a big trend in sobriety of people doing psychedelics only, like who are sober for a long time, but then go into the realm of psychedelic healing. It is a thing.
You know, there's a big trend of everything right now.
That's true. Today's a trendy time.
We hired a babysitter, and she's in college, and she was talking to me, but saying question mark. Like she was like, should I give you Venmo question mark?
Are you sure it wasn't just a voice to text?
No, she did it 4 times. It was, I know what a voice to text is. And then she was like, yes, I don't know what she ate question mark.
No, she must.
I swear to God. It's like a thing that like 19-year-olds are doing.
Hold on,
Laura,
let me try
have you ever heard
now.
of this?
I'm going to experiment with it right now. Hey, Siri.
I know what voice to text was.
Oh, let me just try it. Hey, Siri, text Natasha Leggero.
What do you want to say to Natasha?
Am I your son or your husband? Question mark. You're right.
Sending. Am I your son or your husband?
It's just a question mark. It doesn't say the words question mark.
She was not doing voice to text. She was talking to me, but
she was saying it out loud?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
She said, "Should I put her down to bed?" Question mark out loud.
Yes, and then she said to me,
What?
Should I pay on Venmo? Question mark.
What?
And then she was like, "Oh, I can't find it. Wait, should we do PayPal? Question mark."
Wait, hold on.
I
She said
swear to
this
God.
in person?
In person.
I don't think that's a young person thing, honey. I think that we might need a new babysitter. That's not a trend of the youth.
I thought maybe she was just like a teenager. So
Deeply concerning. Period. Exclamation point. Interrobang. What the fuck, Interrobang?
All
Yay.
right. All right. Well, if it's a trend, LMK.
That means let me know. Hey, Tosh.
Yeah, Moshe.
I just woke up and I feel so refreshed.
That's because you love our mattress.
It's made by Helix, and we've been a long time advocate for the Helix brand mattress, and that's because my back used to hurt. Then I took that little quiz on the Helix website. My back don't hurt no more.
Yeah, I used to sweat at night, but now they gave us one of those little
Cool tops.
But also, it's not just us that loves Helix, because we have a guest room, and every person who spends the night, they always ask, what mattress is that?
What mattress you got? We don't tell them. We keep that private in our house, but on our podcast, we want you to know that there's no better mattress than Helix. You take a quiz and you get a mattress that is matched to your specific sleep needs. Do you have a specific sleep issue? Helix can help. Do you have an old ratty mattress that isn't even comfortable anymore? Helix can help. Helix can help. And you can get one now by going to helixsleep.com/honeymoon for 25% off site-wide, plus 2 free dream pillows when you buy any mattress. All right, Natasha, we got a caller on the line waiting for some of this hot advice.
All right, well, let's call B in Tampa, Florida.
Hi.
Hi, B.
Hi, B.
Hi, B.
Question for you. Like, I'm looking at your Zoom thing, and there's a different name. I won't say what it is. Is your name actually B?
No, but it's not the other name either.
Got it. Well, just the only reason I ask is my mother's name is B, and it would be really, I would feel an intimacy towards you that I wouldn't otherwise feel. But now I've decided I'm not going to feel that way.
Good, it's mutual.
Okay, great. I love it.
Okay, how can we help you?
Okay, so my question kind of in a nutshell is, how do you get back into like a sexual swing of things after trauma? Like after, and I can give you specifics about mine, but it's kind of a general question too.
Do you want to give us specifics about yours?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to. So I'm using trauma, I guess, loosely. Like it's not a violent thing, but I live in an area where at the end of September, we had a hurricane hit and it wrecked a lot of our area. 2 weeks later, we had another hurricane hit. This one was supposed to be a 5 coming like across our driveway. And it wasn't, which was great and fantastic, but still there's a lot of ups and downs. We evacuated to a place that ended up having 17 tornadoes that ripped the roof of our hotel.
Jesus.
2 weeks after that, our cat ran away, and we're pretty sure she was eaten by a coyote. And then literally within 24 hours of Laura reaching out to me to do this, my mom had a heart attack and she's in the hospital.
Oh my
So I
God.
just got home from the hospital.
And you're feeling like you want to learn how to fuck again.
Exactly.
Yes.
It seemed more timely when there wasn't something actively happening, but it also kind of is now, I guess. And we're still having sex and we're still, you know, spending time together and that sort of thing, while trying to spend time on ourselves, you know, do yoga, all the things that are supposed to make you feel. But, you know, it's kind of like an object in motion stays in motion. And once it comes to a stop, like it's hard. How do you start it?
It's funny. We'll answer your question in a second, but it's funny you say an object in motion stays in motion, because at my shows in Philadelphia this weekend, there was a woman that was talking about, she drove into a hurricane and I'm sorry, into a tornado. She drove into it accidentally, and she said that she had her foot all the way on the gas, but she wasn't moving. So an object in motion did not stay in motion because of the tornado. Anyway, tornado facts. Natasha, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I want to say, like, I think we do, like, trauma is such an umbrella, you know, and I think really is it and also I will say trauma that happened from and something in the environment is a different type of trauma, or even something like a cat dying. Even, you know, it's a different type of trauma than like a person doing something to you that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
So, and I'm not saying one's worse than the other, but I'm just saying like there are, you know, because trauma is also about like the freezing up, and are you able to ever exhale from it, you know, and have you been able to do that? And, you know, just really the kind of work, like sometimes it's just time that needs to happen, you know.
It's just what I was thinking. It's like I was thinking while you were describing, because I kind of understand the dilemma it sounds like that you're describing, which is that your body has been in fight or flight mode in 5 different layers for the last 6 months, right? It's like out of one crisis into another. You've been in this like sort of, protective defend position for so long. And now it's like, you know, there's nothing more vulnerable than sex and sexuality, even with your partner that you know well. You're like letting all your defenses down when it's good. And when you're in that defense mode in sex, it's awkward and it doesn't feel good. And it's like, but what Natasha's saying, I think, is right. Like your trauma didn't happen in one event. And so your sexual melting will not occur in one session, right? It's like, be easy on yourself. You've got to work your way down through the strata. It's going to go like mom is sick, cat is dead, hurricane, tornado, orgasm. Yeah. It's going to take all, you know what I mean? You're going to have to work your way down.
And just for like a personal, I just went to this workshop that was at the school about, it was about trauma, and it's like this emergency pedagogy, they call it, because they're like going around to schools and places where there's disasters and war zones and trying to like help the kids who are traumatized by what's happening. And he said 6 months is kind of the amount of time before it becomes something more deep, and as opposed to like starting your post-traumatic recovery. So, you know, it's like that 6 months maybe is an amount of time, like, you know.
Just to clarify,
and also my therapist said for PTSD to set in is 30 days.
You're saying 30 days to 6 months worth of negative traumatic experiences will then, if it lasts that long, it then crystallizes into like something that is difficult to get through, and you have to go to therapy for it.
Yes, I'm saying you try, if it's going like maybe 6 months is a good amount of time to just be like, not like letting it start to turn better after 6 months, as opposed to letting it start to turn worse after 6 months.
Yeah, it's difficult. With sexuality is so weird. I always think about this with sexuality. Like we're doing it with the person, sometimes, not always, but we're doing it with the person that's like you're really close to and really intimate with. And yet it's really difficult to go, hey, I feel really vulnerable right now, or hey, I feel awkward right now, or hey, I'm thinking about the fucking hurricane, or I'm thinking about my mom's heart, you know, like it's not the sexiest thing in the world. Like it's so, and I'm guilty of it too. Like it's so funny to me, so odd to me that you can be so much more honest with people in your life in other parts of your life than you can in that. But I think like, yeah, it sounds like slowing, because you've been in speed mode. And you're in Tampa, Florida, so that actually is thematically appropriate to be in speed mode because everybody's on speed there.
So you're familiar.
Yeah. Yes. But it's like allowing yourself to slow down and go, sex might be weird and for 6 months, but it's going to melt. I think that's good. Much like the ice caps that are going to destroy the state that you live in eventually and have the ocean rise up over all of the metropolitan areas, it's going to melt.
We'll be beachfront before we know it.
yeah, exactly. We will
Got that
too.
beachfront property real early.
Yeah.
And don't feel guilty if you need to get off. Men are, is your partner a man?
Yes.
Men are horny every night.
That's
So
true.
it's like as soon as you're ready, I'm sure they will be ready.
Right. And also don't feel guilty to say, this is so hard, and it's not advice that it's easy for me to take, but are you able to say, I'm not in it?
Yes.
That's good.
It does kind of go both ways though. Like I hear what you're saying, Natasha, like men are horny all the time, but it's not really true when you're terrified your house is going to blow away. And then, the ups and downs and all of that. So it's both of us.
I think it really is that thing. You didn't get wound up in one event and you won't be unwound in one night. I think that's the thing to focus on. Give yourself time. Be gentle.
And maybe also like this might help you actually, because I'm trying to work on it. Maybe setting some boundaries with when you talk about the trauma and talk about stuff.
That is good and smart.
That's really smart. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, it's true.
But what are the boundaries?
Well, I don't know, but you're right. Like we were talking about this recently. Like there was one time that Natasha and I were working together, and we would make a rule that we couldn't talk about work drama once we left the job.
Like the threshold. Once we crossed over the threshold of the house we were shooting in, we were like, okay, we don't talk about that anymore.
Right, because when you keep talking about it constantly, then it's just like. Then how do you switch to intimacy? Because you're like hurricane, 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 hurricane. I'm naked.
But it has to be
I
think for that thing to work the best, like how it worked for me and Moshe, it was kind of like an unspoken arrangement that we both an unspoken agreement. So we both knew when it started, and it's not something we each had to enforce or remind each other. We just kind of knew we didn't do that. So I don't know. Maybe there's. Or, we've also had situations that we've had to deal with where I'm like, okay, how about in the mornings? Until 5 p.m. we can deal with all these things that have to be done. But after that, let's not do it anymore just for our own sanity, and then you'll find other things to focus on.
Yeah, you're making me think like dates are good. When you get that's the problem of being married. It's like you're all of a sudden you're in this business partnership and then crisis hits. And so then you guys are like, a two-man management team dealing with the crisis of the business that is your family. And then you're like, the transition to like, okay, now let's fuck is hard. But if you like slow down, and again, this is advice that I need to take. Go out on a date, watch a movie, get in the mood. I think that's the solution. Don't talk about hurricanes for a while. Don't talk about mom, even though it's so hard because that's the stuff that's at the forefront of your brain. Like, try to get into romance mode, and it might not take one night. It might not take 1 month. It might be a while.
That's really helpful. I really appreciate that. And I think to talk about like not talking about it, it seems really obvious, not like for you all to say it, but I guess when it's so bombarding your brain, it's hard to go, oh wait, I should probably stop and take a step. This has been really helpful. I thought it was funny because I was calling a comedy podcast for something that I actually wanted help with.
We should try talking.
And I think that was
more
great
shit.
advice.
I'm sorry. We should have been more irreverent.
But also, I want to remind you too, it's not that you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's that you set some boundaries together of when would be like maybe after 8 or after 6
Processing
or
time.
Like you don't want it to be too confusing, or maybe your brains don't need that. But I'm just saying like, you don't want to make it so you can't deal with certain things because you guys might have a lot of logistics.
But it's not obvious. That is the nature of trauma. That it moves from your, memory into like the front of your brain and you become obsessed with it. It's difficult. We've all had a friend who has been through a terrible breakup and the first month, it's all they can talk about. And you're like, oh, I'm so sympathetic. And then a year goes by and you're like, motherfucker, enough. Like,
That's
stop.
what that 6 months thing is.
You're just re-traumatizing yourself. You're never allowing the cut to heal because you keep picking at it. So it's not obvious to not talk about it. It's obvious to talk about it. And it takes like actually counterintuitive thinking, even though it's like logical thinking, to go, oh, wait, if I'm talking about trauma I'm not thinking about romance or whatever it is. It's not just about sex and romance. It's also like, how do I enjoy my life when I'm constantly thinking about all the bad things that have happened in the last 6 months? Like, we're in that state sometimes, you know? And yeah, I think it's not obvious. It's the thing that I need to remind myself of. Like, if you become what you think about, and if all you think about is the bad things, then you become a walking bad thing. And so trying to like meditate, not decouple one's thinking process.
Okay, I see where this is headed.
All right.
All right, B. Good luck.
Yeah.
And
Thank you guys.
Oh, when all else fails.
buy a strap-on or something.
Buy a strap-on?
Yeah, do something totally off guard.
Yeah, when all else fails, picture Ron DeSantis. That's what I always say. In his little
definitely.
heels. In his little heels. That's hot. That'll get you in the mood. Come on.
All right.
All right, good luck.
Bye, honey.
Thank you both very much.
Man, we nailed it on that one, Tosh.
Yeah, Moshe. Solved it.
You did solve it, Natasha. I can't doubt that. And now that you solved it so firmly, would you like to solve some secrets?
Yeah, hit me.
Here we go.
I have a juicy, fat, dripping secret,
Ooh.
like Moshe said in the voicemail,
Yes.
whatever. I haven't been able to come. I haven't been able to have an orgasm probably for 3 or 4 years now. And I don't know what to do about it. I think it's because I'm on antidepressants.
Wow.
I've been on like a heavy dose of antidepressants for years. And yeah, it's really frustrating, really tiring. I have to tell every sex partner I have, like, hey, I haven't had an orgasm in
Ooh.
3 or 4 years. And they're always like, oh, no, I know I can do it. I can definitely do it. And they never can because I can't do it myself. I can't do it with masturbating. I can't do it with other partners. That's my juicy, fat, dripping secret. Thanks.
That's literally the opposite of a juicy, fat, dripping secret. It's a dry, not juicy, not dripping secret.
You know
I
what
feel
else
bad.
is funny? She is, though, lightweight negging these guys. She's like, make me come, slave.
You're right.
She's like, you can't do it. And they're like, yeah, I can.
Wait.
And then they can't. Well, I just feel like that's a lot of pressure to put. But who cares? Men should have pressure.
She's depressed. She should be able to do what she wants. What about a vibrator? I mean, I assume, lady, that I'm not mansplaining vibrators to you, and that you've tried that.
No, you know what she needs to do? She needs to talk to a therapist.
To a sex therapist.
No,
yeah.
she needs to talk to the therapist who's prescribing her the drugs because she's gotten on too many drugs.
You are.
Solved it.
Yeah, you did solve it.
It's
You're
too high a
nailing it
dose.
tonight. Yeah, you're
go
right.
off. Maybe try to go off. Listen, I'm obviously not a therapist.
No, but you.
And I'm sure this is not cool to say.
No,
but,
it is cool because you're not telling her stop cold.
Well, I
You're
was about to. I was going to say stop everything just for like 2 weeks or
No,
something.
don't do that.
Oh, I don't know.
Definitely.
Just
that
talk.
don't do. For sure, don't do that.
Well, you just have to get to a lower dose so that you don't think you need so much. So, and you need to maybe find another opinion of a doctor or someone you know who's
no, you're
who
right.
You trust.
You don't. There's a false dichotomy.
Dial it down a notch.
There's a false dichotomy in your mind that because this high dosage has helped you, you must have this high dosage to continue helping you. And the person that can help you figure out the truth, and you tell them, I haven't had an orgasm in fucking forever, is the person that prescribed it to you in the first place.
The less of anything, the better.
The less medication,
Less
the better.
medication, the less alcohol you can drink, the less pie you can consume. Even like my hair extensions, they were like, oh, I don't have to put in the ones in the back. I was like, yeah, less fake as much as I can. I'm still have a little bit like in the front, because I just think it looks cute. But I'm just saying like the less obvious, like maybe this is like, people need their meds, but just definitely test it.
But no, don't test it.
Test it.
Don't test it.
Test less.
Don't test it.
Test less.
Do not test it.
Of everything.
No, go to your doctor and tell them that you are not orgasmic and that you would like to see about
don't
a
be afraid to
lower dose. Do be afraid.
All right.
When you cut yourself off on your own from SSRIs in particular,
I'm not saying
you
they
can
should do
become
that.
suicidal.
Okay.
So don't do that.
Sorry.
But
I don't
go-
mean to say that. But tell, this is what I always tell doctors. I'm like, I want to take as little as I can.
Right.
I want as little.
Right.
Give me the smallest amount of lip filler. I'm just kidding. I haven't got lip filler, but I would,
I only got
But
two,
get the smallest amount. It's
I
going to
only
look
got
best.
2 rings of extension on my penis. And I could have gone more. but
Always go smaller.
Always
Go
go small.
less. Go less.
Go less. Less collagen in my cock is what I told my plastic surgeon. All right, one more secret.
Hi, Natasha. Hi, Moshe. Big fan of both of you individually as well as the two of you as a couple. The secret I wanted to leave with you today is, so I'm in my 30s. I've been dating for a little over 15 years. And in that time, of course, I've had some serious relationships, but I'm a really sexual person. And even when I'm in a relationship with somebody, I can't help but, like, develop crushes on other people. And sometimes I'll have, like, fantasies about them. And I never cheat on my partner, but I will go so far as to, like, say the other person's name out loud while I'm, like, touching myself sometimes. And I've found that a really unfortunate side effect of this is that when I'm actually having sex with my partner later on, I will kind of be subconsciously starting to say the wrong name. And, like, I always catch myself. This happened in unfortunate amount of times, but I'll always catch myself and, like, stop what I'm saying and just, like, breathe heavy and moan, like, I'm just overcome by what's happening. And then I'll just try to change what I was saying into, like, something that makes sense in that space and what we're doing, you know? Like, I'll just, like, ooh, and then I'll be like, lift my leg, or, like, change positions with me. And sometimes it seems like I'm really convincing, and I'm like, wow, girl, you sold that. And then other times I don't know how I get away with it. But so far, have not been busted. Nobody has said anything. Nobody stopped what they were doing. I do think that it's a habit I have to give up now, unfortunately, because I'm in a really good, happy relationship, and I would really hate for it to end because I'm saying, like, his best friend's name while we're having sex. So, have a great day. Thanks. Bye.
I love the abandon with which she is capable of during sex. She's just like moaning another man's name.
Well, it's not a foregone conclusion that you need to moan a name at all during sex.
But she's feeling it.
She is.
She's letting it go
seems
through
like
her.
it's not,
she wants to hear the panting. She's very aurally turned on.
Yeah, but it just seems like this is not the particular moan for you.
I'll tell you what's for her.
What?
Poly lifestyle.
Poly lifestyle, definitely. Also improv, because she's able to nail it so hard every time. She's able to find the right answer. She's like, my name is not Jonathan Bob. It's Bob. It's just Bob.
I think she might not have a hard time coming.
You're right. She should take some SSRIs, and maybe she wouldn't be screaming out those names anymore. Natasha, this has been a delight of a podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're welcome.
You solved it a lot today.
Yeah.
Say it.
I solved it.
Very good. If you'd like to solve it with us on the Secrets Hotline, give us a call, 213-222-8608.
Also, join our Patreon. We're having dinner parties. We've got regulars. We've got a lot of new people. It's a real soiree. And I'm really loving hosting these. I'm loving hosting with you, even though I cut you off. I'm so sorry. But if you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, shoot us an email. endlesshoneymoonpod@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, on YouTube. Come see us live. We are going to be all over the place. But most especially, we're going to be at the San Francisco Sketch Fest, January the 18th. Solved it. That's my thing.
Plugged it. Oh, loved it. Loved it.
Loved it too.